YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy Boda, back in the building for another NieR reincarnation video. If you're clicking on this video, you are asking yourself the question, which companion should I focus on? And it's a very fair question. As you complete the story, you're going to be acquiring these different companions. On my screen, you can see all of the currently available companions in the American version of the game, but there will be additions in the future. As we saw, Chapter 10 gave us this new little robot right here, the Health Pod, which is of the fire element. By playing normal, hard, and very hard stories, you'll be getting these different companions, which all do similar things but are also different. When we're talking about these different companions, they are kind of categorized. You have these robots, you have the books, you have the dolls, you have the bears, and these little dragons as well. From what I've seen, even in the foresight that we've had in JP, all of these like books, dolls, dragons, bears, they are going to give you similar stats in passive buffs, but each single companion is individual to the active skill that does certain things and the type of buff that it's going to give your team passively. So while each one is unique, there is definitely a preferred amongst the community, a more meta version when we're looking at the passives of them. Now, some of them are going to come with a bit of a gimmick to their active skills. Like I know that the Dark doll right here, Sayuri, she can blind with her active skill. So if you're taking on a stage where you want as much blinding as possible, you're going to want to look for like these certain niche cases. But in general, I want to give a huge shout out to Ina over in the NieR Reincarnation Discord that I'm a part of, because Ina shared a very nice spreadsheet, just kind of laying out all of the details together so you don't have to click through each one of these and try and compare them. In that way, you can actually just follow the resource, which I am going to link in the description, in order to get a great overview about which companions you're going to want to keep your eye out for and also focus on once you get them. So here we are on the spreadsheet that Ina did share in the NieR Reincarnation Discord. So again, huge thank you and shout out for letting me showcase this. But we can see everything is categorized and listed very nice side by side. No clicking in and out of menus to draw comparisons between percentage numbers. It's all here. And what we can notice by looking at this spreadsheet is what I was talking about with the groupings of these certain companions. As you can see, all of these bears from rows 3 to 7, it looks like, we can see looking at the percentage numbers that they offer, right? All of the bears are damage uppers. Their passives are capped at 16% at max level, and their active skill damage, well, actually, it looks like this precious one is at a 200%, but the others are at 250% pretty consistently. Then looking at the dolls here, we can see that they all do reduce damage. They also give that reduction of 16%, and the active skill is also 250%. Then moving on to the other types of companions, the books right here, we can see they're all highlighted because I think for this reason they give some of the best percentage buffs to the characters. You can see it's a consistent 20 down for the passive percentage increase. They do range. Some of them give you increased damage, some of them reduce damage, but it's all of 20%. And the active skill damage is a nice 340% damage on that active skill. So the books are preferred for most situations, as you can see. All of the active skills for these are going to be individual, and that's what I was trying to say with identifying what fight, if you're having trouble with something, if you need one of these specific active skill effects, keep your eye out. But in general, you can see that in the notes, Ina has highlighted which ones are preferred for whatever reasons, for the buffs in particular. Then we've got these little spirits, they're called. They're categorized as only 2 right now, Salus and Methos. There's a light and dark spirit, and they both reduce damage for 14% with a 250% active skill damage. And we have the dragons here. A couple of these aren't in game yet. Like, I don't think Methos is in the game yet. Go into the dragons. Mikhail isn't in the game yet. we can see that this will come with a collab. It tells you how to get all of these certain things with this column right here. So those also give you a 14% boost in whichever either damage up, yeah, all of these are going to give you damage up for 14%, and a 290% active skill damage. And finally are the pods. You know, we just got the health pod introduced with chapter 10. These are, 2 of them are going to reduce damage, one, and the water one gives you damage up for 18%, so just behind the second best to the books, but 250% active skill damage as well. So I highly suggest checking out that list on your own if you're curious about where to get the specific companions. That's in its own separate column. There's also an entirely other tab at the bottom that you can click over to check out material grinding for leveling up these companions. It gives you some more details clarifying that. So another great resource attached to this already fantastic spreadsheet. Now I just wanted to go through the list and point out in-game, show you a nice visual of which companions are recommended for certain buffs or debuffing that the spreadsheet recommends. First, we'll cover the light element, in which for light damage, Ina's spreadsheet recommends Sandra. Gives you that at max level 16% extra light damage for all allies. Its active skill is quite nice too. Gives you that HP recovery at max of 15% for the AoE heal, which is just great. And you can see that it's going to fit well on an offensive character. Seeing that the attack and defensive spread is how it is, you're going to get a lot more use out of this attack stat on an offensive character. So just keep that in mind when you're placing your companions in your party lineup. For damage reduction, light damage reduction, the Blood and Sacrifice Tome is recommended. You can see Luminous Shutdown gives you that 20% damage reduction at max level, and the companion skill is quite nice. It also gives you that 340% that we saw for damage, but then gives you 10% healing for 3 turns after that. So a total of 30% will be recovered to your team. Checking out the Dark element for the damage up, the Star and Song companion is recommended. As we can see here, Void Support gives you the allies' dark damage up by 20%, very significant. And the Wisdom Tide Valiance is the active skill at max, the 340% damage, and increases attack by 30% for 60 seconds. So just an incredible offensive companion overall. And I forgot to check out the book stat spread, but it's pretty balanced. Just a tiny little edge in attack over defense. Quite a nice amount of HP as well. So this is just a companion that's going to work on whoever you decide to put it on, offensive, defensive support alike. And in terms of dark damage resistance, the recommendation on the spreadsheet is not actually in our game yet. That will arrive with the NieR Replicant collab, which should be coming in the very near future. From what I've seen in some of the Discord chat, at least, you know, going off of what people are expecting, I think that collab will be coming around in the near future. But until then, our best alternative for dark damage reduction is going to be Sayuri. You can see Void Shutdown. Anytime it has that word relating to the element and then shutdown, it's damage reduction, and support is increasing the damage. So she's going to give you that 16%, and I know I said she, but this is a doll, so it doesn't really have a gender, but the doll is going to give you 16% damage reduction in the meantime until we get the damage reducing dark book, which gives us a 20%. And what's nice, I showed off in the beginning, is that this companion does have a 50% chance to inflict blind for 2 turns on its active skill, dealing 250% damage as well. So not bad. 50% chance to apply it, and then 50% chance for the enemy to miss is not terrible, not incredible, but can definitely come in handy in clutch situations. Let's move on to Fire. Now, looking at damage buffing, we're looking at another book that you're going to acquire right here, Tome Heaven and Earth, for the Blaze support. As we know, it's going to give us that 20% extra fire damage for its passive. The stat spread is even as we saw last time, and the active skill is that 340% and increases critical rate by 30% for 60 seconds. This is another just in general wonderful offensive arc because of that monstrous crit rate boost that it gives for a substantial amount of time. And in terms of fire damage reduction, we can look at the health pod as our preferred companion, giving us a balanced stat spread for a robot, as we can see, and has the blaze shut down for an 18% in fire damage reduction, and laser burn at max level is 250% damage once and inflict burn for 3 turns, so quite nice to get some extra residual damage on the enemy. Moving on to the wind element, you guessed it, it's going to be another book. Cause and Malice. The whirlwind support gives us that 20% damage increase for our allies, and then Wisdom Tide Soldier is deal that 340% damage to one enemy and increases all allies' agility by 30% for 60 seconds when maxed out. So gonna be a great choice for your offensive companion with the wind element. And in terms of damage reduction, it's recommending a pod that's not in the game yet. We're going to be getting it when Chapter 11 rolls around. Normal mode 11-10 is when we acquire the Wind Robot, which gives us damage reduction. So in the meantime, your best choice for wind reduction is going to be the Wind Doll Sumire, or Sumire, however you want to pronounce that. For the doll, I forgot to look at, gives us more of a defensive stat over attack, as we can see. So these dolls are going to look nice on top of your support units who you want to survive longer. You can see the whirlwind shutdown. Sadly, well, that's not too bad. The 16% damage reduction is going to be our best alternative until we get Chapter 11. And the familiar soldier is dealing 250% damage at max level to one enemy and increases all allies' agility by 15% for 60 seconds, which is quite nice. I imagine these wind supports are going to be very, very, very common and useful in PvP, where agility really shines. And finally, looking at the water element, if we're talking about Water Dmg Buff, it's actually going to be the robot. This is the only pod that's giving a damage buff as their companion ability. You can see Ice Water support up by 18% at max level. And the Laser Ripper's quite a nice ability as well at max, that 250% damage, and reduce attack by 25% for 60 seconds, so it can really reduce the amount of damage that you're receiving depending on which enemy you attack with this active skill. So very nice for damage buffing in the water element. And then in terms of water defense, can you guess it? Yes, it's the book, Belief and Heart. With that balanced stat spread, it's got Ice Water Shutdown, 20% damage reduction for the water element, and Wisdom Tide Ward is going to deal that 340% damage once and increase defenses for everyone by 30% for 60 seconds. So water's all about that tankiness. And there you go. I hope that this brief breakdown gave you some clarity on which companions to focus on, which ones to look out for. Like I said, remember to check out the spreadsheet for yourself if you're wondering where to get the companions that I showed off, or if you're curious about where to get companions in general. It's all in that spreadsheet that I'm going to link in the description below. So again, like and subscribe if this video helped you. Hit that bell notification if you're enjoying NieR and want to see anytime I post some content that can hopefully keep helping you out, keep spreading the word of NieR, and just helping support the community in general. Loving the game still, as always. Going to keep on my auto farming, my grinding, because in this game it literally never stops, which is fine with me because I can edit videos while I do this. So I'm going to keep on playing it, keep content coming to you. That's all I got for you this time, guys. Y'all know what we say. Work hard, play harder. See you in the next video.